Fire Force is insane this season. We're only 2 episodes into season 2, and it is already bringing the heat to the point that you feel like you can't take any more. Both episodes back to back, incredible action, well choreographed, it looks goddamn beautiful. We have emotional character writing, Arthur's backstory and how he became a delusional knight nearly brought me to tears, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty sad. I really was taken back by what happened there. You get introduced to a new captain who is so delusional that he wants to be hit by the flames to the point of dying, giving Darkness a run for her money from Konosuba, and Shinra's possession by this horrible creature that is just fueling his hatred to the point that he almost killed people that he truly cares for. This season is off to a bang, and honestly, I can't wait to see where it's gonna go because I have absolutely no idea what it wants to do this season. And that's pretty impressive going into a season 2 and not knowing where they're going to take the story and character arcs, because honestly, I could have seen Shinra getting really wounded in this moment and then potentially having to have a recovery arc for him depending on what Arthur did, because when Arthur is delusional and that's his serious moment, he is one of the most powerful characters we've honestly seen, I truly believe. I think I want to first talk about Arthur's content because that took me by surprise. There obviously was always going to be some reason for his delusions, but I wasn't expecting something that really came across as genuine and not shonen. I thought his delusional knight persona was something shonen with a slight emotional edge. I wasn't expecting a stab to the heart, which is why he became so delusional. To have a boy who recognized his family was failing financially, they were eating hardly anything, literally scraps from the garbage it looked like, and to have a father and mother who, it looked like a pretty nice family dynamic, it honestly did. They may not have had much, but it looked like they were teaching their kid a good thing, and how his father would look to the stars in his hat, and that in return let Arthur see a castle and see them as royalty. It's a really sweet moment. I was content with that. I really was. I thought that's what they were going for. And I was going to say, oh, of course, that's 100% why it still has a shonen edge, but it has an emotional side to it too. That's all well and good. And then you see that his parents abandon him. And even if they abandon him for good reasons or bad reasons, it doesn't matter. A little boy was left in a delusional state that he was king. And I'm just like, Arthur, you've always been my favorite character in this show, but I feel so bad for you, man. Stay in your delusional state for the time being. Obviously, you want to see him be able to grow past that, be able to face reality as he sees it, and be to his full potential, but it's like, you just kind of consider all of his personas up until now in a completely different light, and it's why he's never really grown up, and I think that's why him and Shinra kind of get along, because both of them had their childhood ripped away from them at a very early age, and to see where both of them could go over the story is going to be a damn treat. But when he came to and he really got serious, there was no doubt in my mind that Arthur was going to beat Shinra. I 100% believe that, and that's something that you never really know what you're going to say when two characters are fighting, especially when you have a protagonist. But when your protagonist in your mind is guaranteed to lose, not even just because he's possessed by basically a flame demon, but just because Arthur is that damn powerful, it goes to show you how unpredictable the fights can actually be in this show, and that's a really fun feeling. The episode, and just the whole idea of being introduced to a new captain who's been clawed across his face, who seems as creepy as they come. There was one moment where he was licking the leg of Shinra, and I'm like, this isn't hentai, my man, you need to calm down. And I wasn't sure where they were going to take this guy. I'm glad he doesn't seem like a scumbag, just maybe he doesn't understand social distancing and kind of comes across as stranger danger, I'm not gonna lie. But at the very least, Arthur using him as a literal shield, which is literally his fetish, I thought was some of the funniest shit ever, and it just gave me Konosuba flashbacks, and I kind of want to cross over just so him and Darkness could meet, because that would be something else. But honestly, just the exposure and just like really understanding that we kind of think that everything is black and white when it comes to these bursts, right? You know, we just say like, oh, good or bad depending on who has it, but then there's people who has such a mad curiosity for the flames, and that curiosity could be both a good or bad thing depending on the day or depending on the experiment. And to see how they exposed his character, it was so creepy, it was so disturbing, and then you kept getting the voices in Shinra's mind, and I wasn't sure what they were trying to build up to, and that was a really interesting feeling, because I was like, okay, bad guy, stranger danger, we gotta run for the hills. But instead what they did was they simply said, hey, you know, he may look creepy, but really the most dangerous person in this situation is honestly Shinra, so when the other people in this company come barging in, just kind of like being possessed by hatred, and to see Shinra kind of return the favor, it really put this captain into a different light where you're no longer creeped out by him, you're just thankful that he has a lot of skills, and the little whistle man blowing to buff people was honestly an added bonus and a saving grace. It feels like now that we're so deep into the Fire Force story, we don't really have to take too long explaining powers or explaining new characters. We can just know their job rank, we can know what their weapon does. In the case of one of the characters, it was literally a whistle. So to me, it just says like we're not dwelling on anything, we're just keeping the focus on the meat, on the potatoes, and we're not really focusing on the appetizers anymore. We're just going for the full course here, and honestly, it's really good for that reason alone. Sure, the past 2 episodes have been very action-oriented, and people can make the comparison saying, oh, the reason you're enjoying these episodes more compared to some of the other episodes in Season 1 is there's more action. The action is fun, it's well animated, the flames are impactful. Every time someone hits someone, you feel weight behind the kicks and the punches, and the flames just make you want to melt because of how well they move and just are animated in general. But there's story being told every single time we watch a fight. So it's not just that there's action, it does help and it does keep it exciting, but the reason we care is because we know what's going on with the underworld there. We know what's going on with Shinra, but still having so many questions. So as that possession starts going, there's a reason for the fight to happen, and while we're watching the fight being taken back by its visual beauty, we're also learning about a story. Is the mother still there? Could this character honestly show Shinra his mother? Is it just a demon whispering in your ear to make you do vile things? Or is it all the truth and just, happens to be someone who could actually be your saving grace? We don't know. The fact that another character is going to be given the same blessing or curse, depending on how you look at it, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be blessed or cursed with that ability, and what that could do to Shinra, because as this demon-like creature is saying, be wary, but at the same time, is be wary also just a curveball? Maybe you should approach the person with this ability because they would be your greatest aid, and this is just a manipulation, or is that the truth? There is so much uncertainty with what the antagonists in this show are presenting, and that's what's interesting, because the Fire Force as a whole is pretty damn corrupt, but you also can't say 100% with clarity that an entire group in the organization is bad. It could just be the captain, or it could just be some bad apples that the captain is leading and doesn't know. There's a lot we don't know, and it keeps it goddamn exciting where your heart's ready to jump from your chest because of the adrenaline that's pumping through your body. This isn't simply a shonen that's getting better in Season 2 because it has a lot of action, it's because the action is remaining high quality, feeling like we're watching something towards the end of a season, yet we're just kicked it off, so I can only imagine what the end fights of this season could look like and feel like. But the characters are getting better. The fact that you can look at Arthur and people who may have hated his character in Season 1 for just being a shonen trope, you could explain this to them and they're probably going to say, oh, my bad. Sure, it took a while to see that progression, but still, it does put into perspective. It doesn't say oh, it just got better because it eventually found its groove. It's saying there was always a planned path. It just takes a little while to see certain things come to fruition. And honestly, they're doing a great job. If this was honestly one of the creepiest episodes Fire Force has seen to date, and we were above ground here and it was one of the creepiest. They shifted the character models so remarkably well. The eerie sound effects of the fire crackling as we had just creepy music and horrifying bone-chilling voice acting coming from demons whispering in your ear, or Shinra's just emotional and lust-filled rage. There was some passion in this episode. I think the fact that Fire Force is honestly reinventing the wheel in terms of how to portray fire animation for a television production, and not just any television production, a long-running production. Sure, less than 50 episodes isn't the same as a One Piece or a Hunter x Hunter, but still, 4 cours is nothing to shy away from, especially considering we didn't have too big of a break between the first season and Season 2. But honestly, I have to say, just every single time flames pop up, it feels different than the last, which is what should happen, as no flame is going to be the same as the next one when we look in our own world. They don't have a projection, they don't have a path that they follow, they just move around, they're hot, they're vibrant. When explosions happen, it does take you back. You don't need to have nuclear bombs going off to make a fire punch look very impactful. Like when Shinra and Arthur were going at it, you felt every single punch, you felt every single kick, you felt the weight behind it, and the way it would do a mini explosion. It wasn't overbearing, but it added to the impact and the oomph, and it really made it pop out. This show knows what it's doing with its animation, and honestly, it could have the shittiest story and characters, and I'd probably still be watching it just for the visuals and the sound production. I'm not gonna kid myself, I'm not gonna kid you, but goddamn thank you for having the characters and story be memorable. The uncertainty of what's going on with the story and just what the ability or curse that Shinra has is really intriguing, and all the characters are honestly becoming something special, and the ones that have been more tropey are getting their chance to shine and become something quite memorable, I have to say. I really hope that the next few episodes will keep the momentum going as we've seen with the first 2, because this is some of the best content Fire Force has ever seen. and honestly, I could easily see the first course surpassing the back half of the first season, which was so goddamn remarkable. The characters are fun, they're bubbly, it doesn't feel like it's playing into as many tropes as season 1 did, it's just sticking the landing time and time again, and I'm dying for more Fire Force. I've always been dying for more Fire Force, but this is in a league of its own. I think season 1 was a pretty great anime, it had its issues, but honestly, so far with the first 2 episodes, I'd say season 2 is goddamn amazing. But as always, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Favorite moment, what did you think of the new character? Creepy or just a little unnerving? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like to show your support. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.